and volume. So this chapter specifically, we're going to review a lot of the area formulas. You should already know these. Okay, specifically today it's rectangles and parallelograms. And so first of all, the definition of area is the measure of the region enclosed by the figure. Okay, area is used a lot. Okay, it's used a lot specifically with homes. I mean, when you're talking about area, you're talking about square footage for carpet, for flooring. When you're talking about area, you might talk about the area on the walls. So like the amount of paint you would need, because that's square footage as well. Okay, and so area is one of those subjects that there are a lot of applications for you to see. And so first of all, the area of a rectangle, you should all know this already, is base times height. You might have heard it referred to as length times width. That's the same thing. Okay? The reason why we like base times height is because in some of our future formulas, we will use a lot of the base times the height, so they want to stay consistent. All right? So that's where the base times the height comes into play. So it says find the area of this shape. So the best thing to do in this problem is to do what? Create rectangles and triangles. So there are numerous ways you can do this. Okay, I could go ahead and take out a rectangle here in the middle. All right, I could do that if I wanted. And then I could find the area of this rectangle here. Let's figure out what is the height here. 4. What is the base? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what would the area of that entire rectangle be?
32.
32. And this should be review. Okay. Now we have the area of the top and the bottom. So in this case, I have the area of this. Okay, I know the base is already 8. I know the height in this one is 2. Do we remember what we do with the triangle? You divide it by 2. So let's think. 8 times 2 is? Divided by 2 is? So the area of this is 8. Nice job. And then let's look at the bottom one here. I know the base is 8. How tall is the triangle? 3. So what would the area of that triangle be? 12. So what I need to do then is add up those 3 numbers. So I have 8, 32, and 12, which makes 52 units squared. We always do units squared. Questions? Think you can handle breaking those down? All right, so now we're going to talk about a parallelogram. Remember, a parallelogram is nothing more than a slanted rectangle. A parallelogram is different, though, because with that diagonal side, we need to change our area a little bit. And so the area of a parallelogram is the base times the height, but the height has to be the perpendicular distance. Okay? The height has to be that perpendicular distance. So we're looking at this right here. You have to have a 90-degree angle in there. Now, one of the cool things about a parallelogram is that if I were to cut off this piece right here, you see that piece? If I were to cut that piece off, I could place it right here, and it would make a rectangle. So that's where you get the base times the height. And that's where they come up with that formula. So let's go ahead and look at this one. This one's a little different because what am I finding here? What does it say? The height. Find the height of a parallelogram that has area 7.13 meters squared and base length 2.3 meters. Somebody tell me how I can solve that? Yeah, so a lot of you have already said then I'm going to take the 7.13 divided by 2.3. For those of you that are wondering how did you get that? Well, here's the formula. Here's your base, here's your height, here's your area. Okay, so all I do to solve this is divide both sides by 2.3. It's a basic equation. And what does your height equal? What does it come out to be? 3.1. My label will be meters. Was it 3? You said 3.1, right? Okay. Now your label here is just meters because it's referring to the height and not the area. Questions on that? This lesson should be fairly easy. It's a review. Okay, you've already seen area. You've done it a lot. Okay, I need you to do 1 through 15 on pages 425 and 426.